Venom got some nice buffs, starting with any ball that gets hit stays on screen for 5 seconds instead of 2 seconds. While it won't always be useful, just having the threat of adding an extra hitbox with your attacks will add to their mental stack. But in general, it will make his zoning patterns much stronger since you can cover the ground, then the air, then go back to covering the ground, but with potentially twice the number of hitboxes and angles. One of his weaknesses was his low damage, but a combination of buffs with a larger 5k, having 2H keep them closer on hit, and having each ball do more damage, his damage is fairly good now. And pairing all those buffs with the recovery buff to S-Raid lets you combo off even further range starters. S-Raid before felt pretty weak, but while it still has more recovery than H-Raid, it covers a much stronger angle, covering the mid-range really well. Now using it into Far Slash and Stinger lets you cover the mid and long ranges better than before when zoning. And it even acts as a shield to dash up and 5k to approach, similar to H-Raid, but letting you get even closer. Hitting a ball with 5p now sends it much further than it did before, and to compare it, 2p didn't get changed, so this is the distance difference. While the range it covered before was still strong, this lets you cover a much larger range with really low recovery. And it's similar to the range 5k covers, but it does it more slowly, which will leave you more plus and much harder to approach safely against. JP also got the distance buff, which is really nice to have since it's one of the most important angles for him to cover against IEDs. Before, JP would barely be active and go almost nowhere, making it not useful, but it's great now. They buffed JK to hit lower, which might not sound like much at first, but before, after S set, you'd have to jump forward to hit the ball. Now you can neutral jump, so you don't have to commit to forward movement to cover IEDs. JP can even be used while jumping back to retreat and cover the airspace, but JK can't. JS and JH got extra active frames that specifically work on the balls. The uncharged and partial charged QVs now have larger hitboxes, making them better to use in zoning. The recovery buff on S-Raid makes it much better in pressure too, leaving you +5 up close and over +20 if spaced out. The big bonus to this buff is that before H-Raid on spaced out pressure was mashable, but now using S-Raid will be more likely to frame trap or trade. It's also much better in corner pressure when you're getting spaced out. Against normal blocking, it'll leave you +13, and with a 12 frame 2S, you can go into that, then QV to set up some spaced out ball setups. From other blockstring routes, you may want to cancel earlier to stop yourself from leaving too big of a gap. Unfortunately, with the risk changes, the command grab corner combo doesn't do nearly as much damage as it used to, but they did normalize the distance from the corner you'll be when you land it, making routes more consistent across the cast. I'd recommend doing this route since it's easier and can set up the multiset. With the buff to 5k, it makes it easier to keep them high up for dash cancel routing, leading to corners like this. Here's another example just to really show off what can be done. But in general, you can clearly see he's doing much more damage than he used to. Since each ball does more damage, going from 30 to 40, it means his zoning chip damage will add up faster too. Though depending on their defense modifier, it may do less. The strongest buffs being the 5p and JP changes, the increased ball damage, and decreased S-Raid recovery make him much better in basically every area. Specifically, making S-Raid better drastically changes the parts of the screen he can realistically cover, making the mid-range with the air or low to ground easy to cover at the same time. Even just looping S-Raid into Far Slash is a fairly low-risk option when they're far, and it wasn't possible from H-Raid. But looping the ball set into 5p is even stronger than that. While I still don't like multi-ball set, since using Raid or Stinger deletes the front ball, it can at least be used a bit better with the buffed air normals. Thank you for watching.